Welcome to episode 8 of our series on cross-cultural and global communication. I'm Yogesh, and with me, as always, is the insightful Lily.
Hey everyone! Today we're exploring something that's central to inclusive leadership, how to adapt communication styles and language to be more inclusive across cultures.
Yes, whether you're managing a global team, teaching in international classrooms, or pitching across borders, what you say and how you say it has cultural impact.
And we're not just talking about speaking different languages, we're talking about how tone, directness, emotion, and even silence can mean very different things in different parts of the world.
Let's start with the big idea. Low context versus high context communication. It's foundational in intercultural theory.
Exactly. Low-context cultures like Germany, the US, and the Netherlands prefer explicit, clear, and direct communication. You say what you mean.
High context cultures like Japan, India, and many Middle Eastern countries rely more on implied meaning, relationship history, and nonverbal cues. What's not said is just as important as what is said.
So, in a multicultural setting, you might hear someone from a low-context culture say, "Why won't they just get to the point?" While someone from a high-context culture might feel, "They're being so blunt."
That's where adaptability comes in. Inclusive communicators listen between the lines and across them. They read the room digitally or physically.
Let's talk about directness versus indirectness. In the US, people are often taught to say it straight, but in East Asia, being too direct can be considered rude or disrespectful.
Exactly. If you're giving feedback, for example, in a culture that values harmony, like Japan or Thailand, you might use softening phrases or talk around the issue rather than confronting it head-on.
In contrast, Dutch or Israeli professionals may expect blunt honesty. They see indirectness as evasive.
So leaders must adjust their tone. You can be honest without being harsh. For example, instead of saying, "This plan won't work," try, "Here's an area where we might want to rethink our approach."
Let's dive into emotional expression. In some cultures, enthusiasm and emotion are welcome in communication. In others, restraint is the norm.
That's right. Americans may use a lot of emotional language. "I love this idea," or "I'm super excited." But in cultures like Finland or Korea, emotional control is associated with professionalism.
So when someone doesn't match your enthusiasm, it's not that they don't care, they may just be expressing respect or neutrality.
This brings us to tone. Even the tone of an email can create misunderstanding. A sentence like, "Please do the needful," might sound polite in India, but abrupt in the US.
Or the classic noted. It might seem dismissive to some, while others see it as acknowledgement. That's why cultural calibration is so essential in global communication.
Absolutely. That's why I encourage using neutral, inclusive language and clarifying intent when needed.
Let's talk about inclusive language. Phrases like "you guys" might sound friendly in North America, but they can be gender exclusive elsewhere.
Instead, try "everyone" or "team." Avoid slang, idioms, or sports metaphors that don't translate. "We're in the red zone" or "let's hit a home run" may confuse someone unfamiliar with American football or baseball.
And avoid ableist terms like crazy or lame, which can be unintentionally harmful. Language shapes belonging.
That's powerful. Now let's move to language adaptation strategies for inclusive communication. Slow your pace. Especially in English, native speakers often speak too fast for others to follow. Use simple, clear vocabulary. Prefer start over initiate, or help over facilitate. Pause often. This allows others to process and respond. Repeat or paraphrase. Reinforce your point in another way. Encourage questions. Explicitly say, "Let me know if anything is unclear."
Great list. And let's not forget visuals. Charts, icons, slides, these transcend language barriers and support comprehension.
And when presenting, make sure your slides match your spoken words. Don't overload with jargon. If you use acronyms, explain them.
How about listening skills, Yogesh? Communication is not just about speaking, it's about understanding.
So true. Practice active listening. Paraphrase what someone said. Ask clarifying questions. And affirm with nonverbal cues, even on video calls.
Also, never assume silence means agreement. In some cultures, silence is disagreement, discomfort, or a sign of deference.
Exactly. Inclusive communicators check in by saying, "I noticed you were quiet. Would you like to share your thoughts?"
Let's also mention translation tools. They help, but they're not perfect.
Right. AI tools like Google Translate or DeepL are useful, but always check key messages with a native speaker if possible. Humor, idioms, and cultural references don't always translate well.
Yogesh, can we give our listeners a framework for inclusive communication?
Sure. Here's a simple one. The CARE model. C. Clarify your intent. State what you mean kindly. A. Adapt your tone. Adjust directness and emotionality. R. Respect silence and diversity. Listen without assumptions. E. Empower voices. Invite everyone to contribute, regardless of culture or fluency.
I love that. CARE is a reminder that inclusive communication is intentional, empathetic, and constantly evolving.
And it makes us better leaders, teammates, and global citizens.
So, friends, whether you're writing an email, leading a Zoom call, or presenting a pitch, pause and ask, am I being inclusive or just familiar?
Thank you, Lily. Well said. And for our listeners, well said in our next episode, and we'll share real-life stories of how to build trust and rapport across cultures, a skill that makes or breaks collaboration.
How cultural missteps turned into learning moments. See you in episode 9.
If you found this episode of Corporate Communication useful, don't forget to join us, leadershipacademy.tag Sutra. Do share it with your friends and colleagues, and leave your review. It's going to be all about tone, storytelling, and cultural listening. Don't miss it. Until then, keep listening across borders and leading with empathy.